Good morning, Brazil. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching this feed. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Frankie Olivo. Our program focuses on the very important issues that are affecting our local community. We have shed light on injustices and we have allowed for our platform, this mic, to be that of the voice of the people. Now, if this is something that you can see yourself supporting, we ask that you like, comment, and share this live feed. Now, as of late, our Facebook page is at risk of being taken down. The powers that be do not want you, the voter, to know the truth. But remember, we will not be silenced. Now, if you're really about the cause and you want to stand up to corruption and you want to hold our elected leaders accountable, well, make sure you subscribe to our social media platforms. Currently, right now, we are streaming this live episode on X, formerly known as Twitter, and on Facebook. You can find us under Frankie Olivo. Also, we're streaming this live on YouTube under our channel titled Frankie Olivo TV. Remember, Good Morning Brownsville will come on Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. religiously. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel titled Frankie Olivo TV to tune in. We will not be silenced. And always remember, Brownsville, I'm forever grateful to each and every one of you for the time and attention that you provide us. Thank you so much for that. How we doing, chat? How we doing? Happy Thursday. We're almost there. We're almost at the finish line. It seems que estamos gateando. We're almost to Friday. I'm sure the teachers can't wait until the weekend. The first week of school is always hectic. We've been having some concerns that people have been vocal about, but again, we ask people to be patient. We understand that individuals, that leaderships, they're working out the kinks, so to speak. But we're confident that after the first, second week, everything will return back to normalcy. At the end of the day, it's the start of the new year. A lot of butterflies, a lot of things are getting worked out logistically, so to speak. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be talking about a very interesting topic that has been an issue as of late. Today, we're going to be talking about a game that many children actively participate in. And this is a very interesting story because while this has brought attention to the United States, there is a class action lawsuit that is going around, and we finally saw someone here in Cameron County that took part in joining that lawsuit. And it's in regards to children's safety concerns. We titled our program, "Are You Aware of the Content Your Child is Consuming on Social Media?" And that is how we will start today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in.
A family in California is now suing Roblox and Discord after their daughter was abducted while using the apps. This family in California has filed this lawsuit saying that Roblox and Discord failed to protect their 10-year-old daughter from being abducted. Back in April, this man was able to meet this 10-year-old girl on Roblox, befriending her, getting her Discord username, and then even getting her to tell him her home address. After they met in Roblox, became friends on Discord, and got her home address, he drove hours to her house and then abducted her and took her hundreds of miles away to another city in California. Now, luckily, this girl was found unharmed. However, Discord and Roblox have both said that they protect minors and protect them very aggressively, but apparently Roblox and Discord did not help in this case. Now, this is coming at the same time that they just issued a cease and desist to Schlepp, who goes on Roblox and finds these child predators and gets them arrested. Between him and his team, he's actually gotten 6 predators arrested from Roblox, and now Roblox is telling him that he has to stop and he's not allowed to help them anymore.
When we talk about the newer generation, we always have to talk about social media. I grew up in a time where computers were starting to become the norm. It was a time where we needed a computer to help us in our studies. This was a necessity now. Before it was a luxury. Now, social media amongst children and teenagers, it does vary. Some have positive interactions. They learn with others. Social media can be used as a tool to connect, to learn, to have a creative expression. Throughout the different social media platforms, it helps people, not just children, connect with family, learning. It helps as a way to learn, discover new hobbies. Hey, they say you can learn just about anything on YouTube, right? If you haven't already, how to cook, how to change a light bulb, everything is found on social media. But it also brings something else. It brings a darker side to the World Wide Web. Some have been using it to create maybe possible harmful content. Maybe people learn addictions. Negative impacts on mental and physical health have been questioned. When we talk about cyberbullying, that's something of the norm. Before, we had to be in school before we saw a bully again. Now our bully can reach us with one simple swipe or one simple click. Children, they may be exposed to cyberbullying, which could create serious health consequences. The reality of today's world is that children are exposed to graphic content. Before, it was a VHS. Before, it was a magazine. Now, it is easily accessible. What we have seen from social media in recent years has been an increase in harmful content for children. There have been online predators who have had easy access to our younger children who are more vulnerable to inappropriate material and even peer pressure. The anonymity and reach of social media, it makes it easier for these predators to target minors, to target children. Also, we have to understand the way algorithms work. Think of algorithms as waves on Facebook, on TikTok. And the more you view a certain content, the more you'll be presented on your screen. And that could have negative impacts for a child's health. When they talk about body image, body shaming, it could even affect their self-esteem. Many people, many platforms, they lack effective age verification and modification. It makes it difficult to shield children from potential dangers. Now, these issues, ladies and gentlemen, now they're at the forefront. Now they could be found on a child's phone, which leads us to question, are you aware of what your child is consuming? Is there parental oversight? Now, you might say, yes, I know what my child is watching. But at the end of the day, this seems as if this is getting harder and harder with the different types of social media platforms. When we talk about the messages that they're receiving, the comments on certain pictures, videos. Mata makes a great point. Nowadays, when we grew up on cartoons, the Jetsons, Tom and Jerry, Scooby-Doo. We can make the argument that while most of them were PG, maybe there was a cartoon here and there that kind of walked that fine line. Maybe Cartoon Network. Remember when Cartoon Network blew up? It was the first like adult cartoon content, what they would show it late at night. Remember that? Nowadays, kids don't watch cartoons for the most part. Now, all the content that they're feeding, that they're receiving is online. So the time in which you grew up, I grew up, are totally different compared to what is happening in today's world. Rosas talks about Adult Swim. Remember that? It was after what, 10 p.m.? That kind of got the, and now it's what, South Park? Well, there's a variety of adult content that is being portrayed in cartoons, but Adult Swim was something out of left field. It was like, whoa, this is new. But they would put it in an hour where, for the most part, children would not be watching, right? Now, I chose to talk about this because Roblox is a game that it seems as if all the parents are buying their children this game. And from my understanding is that at one point Roblox, which is an online platform where where people now can create games. It has become a social interaction, a user-generated content. At one point, this game, ladies and gentlemen, Roblox, was just for children. But as any business, they want to grow. And this game, which started once as a game for children, has now become a game for everyone. And this has totally changed the landscape of this game. Now, Roblox, what they're doing is they're targeting the older generation because every business wants to grow. And it's always about money. Roblox charges these people to create different phases. Good morning. I'm watching your show, but FYI, student bullying and make fun of a teacher as well. A student make a fake page with teachers' pictures and make fun of their disabilities. You may use this, but please anonymously. Again, cyberbullying, hate has taken a new persona, so to speak. Nowadays, it's so easy for people to be harassed, for people to be bullied because of social media. So Roblox, essentially, a game that was once designed, as a platform that was once designed for children, now it hosts millions and millions of users across various genres. Now, where it gets murky, ladies and gentlemen, is that people have uncovered how children have been exploited. Where adults, they're posing as children to interact with minors. And the thing about this game is that this platform, just like anything, it encourages interaction. It is difficult, ladies and gentlemen. It is difficult for you, the parent, to control parental guidance. And very quickly, before I continue, for those individuals that aren't aware, this is something that is very lucrative. It's very big. You can download the Roblox app. You can create a profile. You can start exploring platforms. You can browse games. You can join experiences. But these experiences, they require currency called Robux, because you need to access certain features. So the students, the children, they're always asking their parents, hey, buy me this, give me your credit card, buy me that. But the parents, they're not aware of what is going on behind the scenes. Now, this has been a systematic issue, ladies and gentlemen, because there has been news as of late that Roblox, which was once a game designed for children to start thinking differently, for them to code, for them to create, now Roblox is making headlines and causing concerns, controversial concerns as of late. Many people are citing that the platform has been creating, has been a systematic failure. Lawsuits, allegations have been brought up where children are being groomed. Now, there is safety concerns. Now, Roblox, in this year, they did collaborate with Discord, OpenAI, to launch Roost, which is a nonprofit that is focused on open source tools for detecting and removing child abuse material. They are aware of what's going on, but many critics are still arguing that this is not enough. That there have been content glitches. Things have fallen through the cracks, so to speak. Accusations of pedophilia have run rampant. Also, arguments have been made of the platform's monetization and developer exploitation. These are the real world dangers, ladies and gentlemen, of when we talk about platforms, websites, applications on the World Wide Web that are harmful. And the majority of the parents don't realize what's going on. While the images that I have of here on the screen might seem like they're PG, might seem like they're child appropriate, well, let's see what has been going on as of late. Here I have before you an example. Let me blow it up. Here I have an example of a case. I can't blow it up that much, but I'll read it to you. It says, this from a complaint filed against Roblox, a lawsuit. On the top, it reads, in 2018, Roblox app enabled a predator posing as a child to coerce a 9-year-old girl into performing and filming sexually abusive acts on her 4-year-old brother through violent threats, including death, against her family. It goes on to read, in 2019, a Florida predator systematically used Roblox to target children ages 10 through 12, moving them to Discord. It's another social media platform, to coerce the children into sending him naked pictures of themselves. That man encouraged 150 children to engage in sexual activity by contacting them. Another example, in 2020, Roblox enabled a 47-year-old predator to pose as a child who targeted a 16-year-old girl. They moved that conversation to Facebook, where solicitation of photos and videos were exchanged. In Michigan, a man was arrested for persuading an 8-year-old girl to send him videos. There was a research that was done where it demonstrated how easy it was for an elderly person of 42 years of age to find a 5-year-old user and get the user, the child, to communicate through Snapchat. The predator that engaged in a pattern of calculated grooming behavior that Roblox had known about and enabled through years. Its deliberate failures to modify the design or otherwise provide any meaningful safeguards to protect the child. This is what your child is susceptible to. This is the reality of life, ladies and gentlemen. When we grew up, we had to show up to school in order for us to be bullied, in order for us to... Now, look, there is that constant fear, ladies and gentlemen, of parents. You know, you send your child to school thinking that that the principal, the administration, the teachers, that they're going to protect your child. They're going to nurture them. They're going to mold them. They're going to educate them. But most importantly, the main concern that parents have is safety. I want my child to be safe. What did we see as of late? With the Rivera scandal, we saw that it's a culture. Everyone knew about it. The school district might want this to go away, but that's the reality of what was happening. And through our reporting, we can go back 10, 20 years that this was a culture, that teachers were having sexual interactions with students, and nobody said anything about it. This isn't me that made these things up. We have witnesses that have come forward and said, Trujillo, I had a relationship with him that goes back 10 years. We had another victim that states that something happened between her and Farley. She says, Farley knows who I am. I was scared once. I'm not scared anymore. So your concern, our concern, the number one concern that everyone has is that whenever you drop off your child at school, that they are protected, that they are not being groomed, that they are not being exploited. And I hate to create or talk about this because it's a very sensitive issue. It really is. Whenever you start talking about people like, ya cállate, por favor, change the subject. But this is the reality of life. This is what's going on. We may not want to deal with it, but if we don't deal with these issues, something bad's going to happen. When we talk about Rivera, the school district, they want it to go away. They don't want this to be in the press. Again, we're dealing with a $500 million entity. They just approved a budget of $600 million. You think they want the bad press? You think they want to lose? They're already losing students by the thousands. We're competing against Idea, Harmony, Jubilee, Athlos, and now SpaceX, in a matter of a few years, is going to create their very own school here in Boca Chica, Brownsville, Astoria. You don't think the cream of the crop students in Brownsville are going to want to go to that school? Now, we understand that it is designed just for SpaceX employees, but you know what's going to happen throughout the years? They're going to want some of that money. They're going to ask the state for that money eventually. So the school district doesn't want you to know about what's going on at Rivera. They don't want this platform to remind you about it. But we have to bring up these concerns because they are legitimate concerns. We want our children to be safe. That is the reason why we come on before you, because we want to talk about these issues. Do you have KRGV talking about this? Do you have Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 23 Televisa? No, that's why we pride ourselves in coming before you, because we tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And unfortunately, none of us want to hear about the ugly stuff. We really don't. When it comes to our kids, we just want to know that mijito, mijita is the best thing that ever happened. This world is cold. This world is not pretty. While many people want to make it seem as if it's a walk in the park, many people want to make it seem as if this is a kumbaya, that everything's okay. It's a scary world, ladies and gentlemen. It's very scary. And now you don't have to worry. Now you do not only have to worry about their education. Now you don't have to worry about what's happening in the school district. Now you have to check to see what your child is consuming on social media. Because a platform that was once designed for children now is being called into question. Class action lawsuits have been filed throughout the country. This platform is being accused of being a hunting ground for child predators. Are you aware of what your child is consuming? Are you aware of who's messaging your child? Now, the majority of social media platforms, they do have parental guidances. But you and I know that there's always ways to get around that, unfortunately. What have we seen? That this is real. That many people are starting to realize that adults have access to children. Now, the reason why I brought this up, ladies and gentlemen, was because someone here in the Valley, in Cameron County, they did file a lawsuit against Roblox, claiming that her son was sexually exploited by an adult on the gaming platform. This lawsuit was filed last week, and it comes as several allegations that we have previously shown you in other states. They have been made nationwide. The mother in this lawsuit here in Cameron County, it claims, according to the lawsuit, it claims that Roblox, they should be held accountable for the absence of safety features on the gaming app, because this has led to trauma. Her 8-year-old son has been having mental health issues because of this. According to the lawsuit, a woman met the boy on Roblox. This woman posed as a child. Through their interactions, the woman who was posing as a child gains this little boy's trust, convinced the boy to send his number through Roblox. This woman ended up sending graphic messages and sexually explicit photos of herself to the 8-year-old boy. The lawsuit, ladies and gentlemen, alleges that the woman convinced the boy to send photos of himself. 8 causes of action, ladies and gentlemen, were stated in this lawsuit. They referred to the misrepresentation and design defects of the gaming app. Like everyone, it could possibly be you. You think that this platform, Roblox, is safe for children because it was designed and marketed for kids at one time. This action, this lawsuit calls the failure of Roblox of them being negligent. The lawsuit does state that if the gaming app had implemented the basic systems of screening, of age, of identity verification, as well as having effective parental controls, that this would have never happened. That this dangerous predator who was posing as a child would have never reached that child. That child would have never been harmed. The mother in the lawsuit claims that the boy has seen a decline in mental health as a result of this incident. This leads to trust issues, anxiety, distress, personal security, safety. They have been depriving him of the opportunity to live a normal and healthy development as a child. This should really be alarming to each and every one of us. Because if it happened to someone on Roblox that is designed for children, then they're all susceptible. And not just Roblox, but each and every social media platform that your child is on. Now, what can be done? Because if it happened to one, imagine the hundreds, if not thousands, that are out there that don't say anything about this because they're embarrassed to tell their parents. Maybe their parents aren't even aware of this. And look, this is a very delicate issue. I reiterate that because this is a very difficult discussion that parents have with children. But we hope that you have a relationship with your child, that you're able to have that discussion, because it's something that is very, very important moving forward. Ensuring that your child has a safe experience on social media should be of major concern to parents today. We encourage that you talk regularly about social media with your children. Talk to them. What are you seeing? Who do you follow? What do they think is cool? Because the trends that I grew up with, that you grew up with, are outdated. Now words that meant something for me and you might mean something different to these new generation. So we have to keep up with the trends. And you and I know this, that these younger generations, they have words and codes for everything. Did you know that when we grew up, the number 69, what did it mean? It meant 69, right? Now this generation, it's not 69. Now it's 67. I didn't know that. Now that's the trend. They're changing the understanding of terms, of lingo into their own. Maybe that's their way of masking things, of saying, I don't want my mom to know. I don't want my dad to know. So when you say, 67, well, 67, I don't know what that means. But 67, whenever they say 67, that's the new term for 69, where we all know what that is, right? Or how can we stop children from being victims of social media, you might ask? Because it seems as if, and I hate to use this word, but it seems as if it's inevitable. Because all they need to do is one click, one swipe. But you need to talk to your child regularly. You need to have that open communication. You need to sit down with your child every day, talk to them about school, talk to them about life, and talk to them about this. Is anyone hurting you? Do you feel safe? Is there something I should know about? Well, maybe you should avoid something you should know because you'll be like, no. But you need to create an environment where a child is able to express their concerns. Maybe they're uncomfortable with somebody. Maybe they're uncomfortable with something. They just don't know how to say. At that age, adolescent, teenage years, and even children, you know, they're embarrassed to say, "Hey, this happened to me, and I didn't feel right." And what happens to them? Deep inside, it affects them, their self-esteem, their confidence. It could lead to trust issues. It could lead to them questioning things. It's important, ladies and gentlemen, for you to go through your child's phone. You need to set age appropriate boundaries. For the most part, major platforms, they do have a minimum age of 13 years old. Netflix, I think, has that as well. Is this child content only? YouTube as well has YouTube Kids. Messenger has Messenger Kids. Use parental control and tools on devices such as TikTok, Instagram. They are supervision tools that you can look at, that you can find, that you can set on your child's phone to avoid these issues. We also need to be more up to date with digital literacy. Help them understand how to spot fake news, harmful content, manipulative messaging. Talk to them about the potential dangers of talking to others that they don't know. Don't share personal information. Do never show pictures, images. Teach them the difference between public and private information and what should never, never, never be shared. Many people have been arguing against this new bill that has or is going to be implemented at the schools, where the cell phone is going to be restricted, where the cell phone is not going to be allowed. It is difficult, Martinez. It's an ongoing issue. It's an ongoing battle because people pose as children, how we spoke about earlier. There have been cases, the case that I showed you out of Florida. The case here in Cameron County, we had a woman alleging she was a child and got this child from here in Cameron County to show intimate pictures of himself. That's the reality, ladies and gentlemen, that your children, our children, are exposed to. We need to address this issue. We need to be on top of things. And again, it's not a conversation that we want to have. It's a delicate conversation. But now, ladies and gentlemen, it's something that needs to be done. Because now, again, we spoke about how before we had to be present in the classroom in order for our bully to target us. Now, the bullies could be found anywhere. I just had somebody say that I just had somebody tell me how students create fake profiles. Students bully teachers. They make fun of them. Because of a disability that the teacher has. Your child's mental health, your child growing up in a safe environment is the number one thing that you have on your mind. And you're working hard to make sure that that happens. We need to keep addressing this issue. We need to monitor, check their online activity. We need to encourage real world friendships and activities. Get off the screen, go run, go play. This world, ladies and gentlemen, is very daunting, is very scary. We need to do a better job of monitoring, of making sure that our loved ones aren't vulnerable to this reality. I pose you the question, Brownsville, Cameron County, South Texas. Are you aware of the content that your child is consuming on social media? We have talked about how Roblox has been a place where children have been exploited and they've been groomed. We need to do a better job of monitoring our children's social media activity. We need to do a better job of having that difficult conversation with them about, do you feel safe? Once we have that communication, we'll build that trust with our child, and hopefully they'll be safe on social media. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel titled Frank Olivo TV. My name is Frank Olivo, and this is Good Morning Brownsville. Peace!